The hall of the Galactic Council was vast and filled with silence. 1,000 lights shone from above, reflecting off walls made of crystal and silver metal. Alien envoys of every kind sat in their floating seats. Some had scales that shimmered. Others had bodies of mist or stone. All of them turned their eyes toward the single human walking to the center of the chamber. The human woman's name was Mira Lorne. She wore a plain gray uniform with no weapons. No armor, nothing that showed power, yet her calm walk drew every gaze. Her eyes were steady and cold, and when she stopped in the center, the council itself seemed to grow tense. The air in the room felt heavier. The voice of the council's speaker rang across the chamber. It came from a tall, insect-like being with a glowing crest. "Humanity of Earth," the speaker said, "you stand accused of violating the seal placed upon your world." Mira did not flinch. Her voice was quiet but clear. "Then you remember us." A low murmur filled the hall. Some envoys leaned toward each other, whispering in strange languages. The speaker's crest flickered uncertainly. "We remember the chaos your kind caused," another alien said. Its body looked like water floating in the air. "We remember why the seal was made." "Do you?" Mira lifted her head slightly. "No," she said. "Because you made sure we wouldn't." The silence that followed felt like the whole galaxy holding its breath. Long ago, Earth had been surrounded by an invisible barrier of light and energy. No signal could escape, no ship could enter. To the rest of the galaxy, it had become a forbidden zone, a place to be forgotten. For ages, no one had spoken the word Earth in this chamber. Now, after so long, a human stood there again. The council's walls began to pulse with soft blue light. The holographic image of a star map appeared, showing the solar system surrounded by a red circle. "The Seal of Sol," the speaker said, "placed to protect the galaxy from what lies within." "Protect?" Mira's tone was sharp. "You mean hide. You hid us away, erased us from your records, and pretended Earth never existed. Why?" The speaker's eyes glowed. "Because the truth of your kind is dangerous." Behind Mira stood two other humans, Dr. Halvin Ree and Lieutenant Ilya Torin, both part of the first expedition from Earth after the barrier had fallen. They watched quietly, knowing every word spoken here would decide their planet's fate. Mira looked at the council without fear. "We came here to ask for peace, to understand why our home was sealed. You owe us that much." An elder alien, ancient and slow-moving, spoke with a deep rumble. "When your seal broke, it was not by our will. Something failed. We believed Earth forgotten, locked forever. But the seal did fail," Mira said. "We saw the barrier vanish. We sent signals and received no reply, so we came to find the truth." The chamber darkened as more holograms appeared. Records of energy surges, strange pulses around Earth's orbit. Some envoys flinched. The readings were unnatural, as if space itself had been torn open. The speaker leaned forward. "You were not meant to return. The last time humans stood before this council, entire sectors burned. That is all you need to know." Mira's heart beat hard, but she kept her voice steady. "We are not those humans. We are not the past." "Let us prove it," the speaker hesitated. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then another voice, calm and thoughtful, rose from one of the lower seats. It came from Counselor Varen, a tall, pale alien whose skin shimmered like glass. "Perhaps we should hear them," Varen said softly. "We owe them at least the right to speak." Some envoys hissed in protest, others nodded. The speaker finally agreed. "Then speak, human. But know that if your words bring danger, the seal will return, and this time it will last forever." Mira took a breath. "Before we came here, we found something on Mars, buried deep in the old colonies, records from a time before the seal. They spoke of a meeting like this, of Earth standing before this council once before. And they said one thing that troubled us most." She stepped forward. The floor lights followed her. "The record said Earth was not sealed to protect us. It was sealed to protect you." The room erupted. Voices clashed, languages collided. Some envoys shouted for silence, others demanded proof. The speaker's crest flashed bright crimson. "Lies, humans twist truth as they breathe." Mira waited until the noise died down. "You can test my words," she said. "You have the technology to read memory, to see through falsehood. You know I speak truth." The speaker turned his gaze to Varen. "What do you know of this?" Varen's expression was unreadable. "Only rumors," he said slowly. "That long ago, a power greater than the council itself ordered the seal, and that the order came from humans. A chill spread through the hall. Mira looked around. If that is true, then you didn't seal us at all. We sealed ourselves. Why? No one answered. The speaker slammed a staff against the floor, ending the session. Enough. The council will decide Earth's fate. Guards of different species appeared, their armor glowing faintly. Mira and her companions were led away through silent corridors. They passed through halls of glass where alien observers stared at them with fear and curiosity. None of the aliens had ever seen humans before. Inside their holding room, Ilya paced back and forth. They're scared of us, he said. Like we're monsters out of their stories. Halvin sat near a console, reviewing data from their ship. Maybe we are, and we just don't know it yet. Mira stood at the window, watching distant stars beyond the council's world. If they feared us enough to erase us, she said quietly, there must be something more. Something they all remember but refuse to say. A soft chime sounded. The wall behind them shimmered and a message appeared. A secret transmission. The signal was faint, encrypted with old council codes. Mira pressed her hand against the console. Who's sending this? The message opened into the image of Counselor Varen. His face was shadowed. Captain Mira Lorne, he said, voice low. I do not have long. What I say could cost me my position or my life. Mira leaned closer. Then say it. Varen's eyes glowed faintly. The seal was not made by the council alone. It was created with human hands. And it was not to imprison your world. It was to lock something inside it. What do you mean? She asked. There are things buried on your planet, Varen said. Things that were never meant to wake again. The seal was the only way to keep them dormant. If you broke it, you may have awakened them. Halvin frowned. What kind of things? Varen shook his head. Even the oldest records were purged. But there was one phrase left in the archives before it was destroyed. It said, seal Earth for the dreamer's stir. I do not know what it means, but the galaxy still remembers the fear. The image flickered, then vanished. The transmission was cut. Mira stared at the dark screen. Dreamers, she whispered. He said it like it meant something terrible. Outside, the stars seemed to pulse with light. She felt a deep unease as if something far away was watching them. Moments later, a council guard entered and announced that the council had voted. The decision will be made tomorrow. Until then, you are confined. When the guard left, Ilya turned to Mira. What do? We find out the truth before they silence us, she said. Halvin looked at her. And if the truth is worse than we can imagine? Mira's eyes met his. Then the galaxy has every reason to be afraid. Far above the council world in the orbiting docks, their ship Aurora waited in standby. Its systems quietly came to life, reacting to a hidden command from Mira's wrist link. If the council tried to imprison them again, Aurora would be ready to run. As night fell over the shining towers of the council planet, Mira stood by the window once more. She could see the endless stars and one small distant sun, the light of home. She whispered to herself, whatever they sealed us for, we'll face it. Because this time Earth will not hide. Somewhere deep in the void between stars, an ancient signal pulsed faintly in reply, as if the universe itself had been waiting for those words. And on the council's private channel, one voice spoke quietly to another. She knows too much. Then seal her world again. Before the past returns. The light of the stars dimmed for a moment, as if something unseen stirred behind them. The great doors of the council chamber closed behind Mira Lorne, leaving behind the echo of alien voices and the tension of unspoken truths. She walked through the bright halls with Dr. Halvin Ree and Lieutenant Ilya Torin by her side. None of them spoke. Their faces were set, their steps slow, each one weighed down by what they had just heard. When they reached their ship, the Aurora, it was quiet inside. The systems hummed softly, the lights dimmed to save energy. Outside the window, the stars looked sharp and cold. Mira sat down at the command chair and stared at the distant glow of the council planet below. They're hiding something, she said. Varen didn't risk everything to send us that message for nothing. Halvin rubbed his eyes. He said there were things buried on Earth, things that were sealed away. Maybe that's what the seal was really for. Ilya folded his arms. And what if those things are still there? What if we broke the seal and woke them up? Mira looked at him. Then we find out before they do. She opened a file on the console, a copy of the message Varen had sent. It was short, Only a few seconds of data, but hidden inside was an old council encryption pattern. Mira began to decode it. Symbols flickered across the screen, changing faster than the eye could follow. Then a set of coordinates appeared, numbers that glowed faintly blue. Halvin leaned closer. Those aren't council coordinates. They're ancient. Pre-seal format, Ilya frowned. Where do they lead? Mira entered them into the navigation system. A star map opened, zooming through the galaxy until it stopped near a dead world on the edge of known space. The name appeared in faded letters, Klyros V. It was a planet long abandoned, marked as a restricted site by the Council. That's where we'll find answers, Mira said quietly. Before they could leave, a warning flashed on the console. The Council had placed a travel ban on their ship. Any unauthorized movement would be seen as defiance. Mira looked at the notice for a long moment, then turned it off. Ilya, she said, prepare silent launch protocols. He hesitated. You know what that means, Captain? Yes, she said. It means we stop asking for permission. The Aurora drifted from its dock under the cover of night. Its engines were almost silent, hidden by a layer of cloaking energy. Slowly, it slipped away from the Council's planet and into the deep dark between stars. Hours later, when the Council discovered the missing ship, it was already gone. In the Council's private chambers, Speaker Terral's crest glowed red. Find them, he ordered. If they reach Klyros V, the truth may spread. Councillor Varen stood quietly at the edge of the room. He said nothing, but his eyes followed the glowing star map as the human's path faded into the dark. The journey to Klyros V took 3 days. During that time, Mira's crew searched through everything they could find about the seal. Most of the data had been erased. Every record from before the quarantine age was missing or rewritten. It was as if the galaxy had cut a piece of its own memory away. On the 3rd day, the Aurora entered the Klyros system. The planet appeared on the screen, a gray, lifeless sphere surrounded by dust and broken satellites. Once it might have been beautiful. Now it was silent. Atmosphere thin, radiation levels moderate, Halvin said, reading the sensors. No signs of life, Mira nodded. Take us down. They landed near a ruined city, its towers half buried in ash. The air was thin and cold, filled with faint static energy that made their suits hum. Mira led the way across the broken ground, her boots crunching against old stone. The ruins stretched for miles, ancient, strange, and untouched for millennia. At the center of the city stood a structure shaped like a pyramid, its sides smooth and metallic. A faint light glowed at the top. This place doesn't look like alien design, Ilya said. It's too familiar, Halvin's scanner beeped. It's built from a composite similar to pre-seal human alloys. But this place is older than the seal by thousands of years. Mira stared at the pyramid. Maybe humans were here before the seal. They reached the base and found an opening blocked by energy barriers. The symbols etched along the edge were faded but readable, letters of an old Earth language. Mira touched the panel beside them. The barrier flickered and disappeared. As they stepped inside, soft light filled the chamber. Machines long dormant began to hum. Holograms flickered to life, images of stars, ships, and words that no one had spoken in ages. Halvin whispered, "This is a vault." At the center of the room stood a round platform with a single console. Its screen glowed faintly. Mira stepped forward and placed her hand on it. The surface rippled like water, scanning her DNA. Then a calm voice spoke, clear and human. Identity confirmed. "Welcome back, Administrator." Everyone froze. Mira's heart stopped for a moment. "Administrator?" she whispered. The voice continued, accessing memory archives, retrieving history of the SEAL protocol. The walls lit up with images, massive ships, bright energy rings, and a young human man standing before a council much like the one Mira had faced. His voice echoed through the chamber. "My name is Elian Sol. If you are seeing this, it means the seal has fallen. And that means we have failed." Mira stepped closer. "Alien Sol," she said quietly. The hologram continued. "The resonance cannot be controlled. It consumes those who try. We built wonders, but each wonder demanded a price. The others were right to fear us. So I sealed our world and erased our memory to save all that remains." The image changed, showing Earth surrounded by a glowing barrier, the seal being formed. The energy looked almost alive, as if it resisted the command. Halvin whispered, "So it was true. Humans sealed themselves, but why? Ilya asked. What is this resonance? The hologram flickered again, showing humans standing with light in their hands, bending metal, shaping air. Their eyes glowed with power. Elion's voice returned. It began as knowledge. Then it became hunger. We touched the roots of the universe and forgot our limits. We called it progress, but it was something else. If you are my descendant, you must choose differently. Then the hologram went dark. Mira stood still for a long moment. Her reflection shone on the blank console screen. My descendant, she said quietly. He knew someone would come. Halvin looked at her with shock. The vault recognized you. That means you carry his genetic code. Maybe we all do, she said. Maybe that's why the seal broke. Before they could speak further, the ship's alarm came through their comms. Ilya answered, his voice tense. Captain, we've got company. Council fleets just entered orbit. Mira's eyes narrowed. They followed us. She ran toward the exit, her boots pounding on the metal floor. Outside, the sky above Clyros V had turned red. The ships of the Council hung like dark blades in the clouds. A message came through, cold and commanding. Human vessel Aurora, you are ordered to surrender. The knowledge you have accessed is forbidden. Power down and prepare for boarding. Mira stood in the open air, wind whipping around her. They want to bury the truth again, she said. Halvin looked at her. What are you going to do? She stared at the sky. Send the message to everyone. She tapped her wrist link, linking the vault system with Aurora's transmitters. The air shimmered as data began to flow. Alien's message, the images of the seal, the truth that the Council feared. Across the galaxy, signals sparked as the broadcast reached every world. The Council's ships fired warning shots, shaking the ground. Transmission at 70%, Ilya shouted over the comm. They're trying to jam us. Hold steady, Mira ordered. Don't stop until it's done. Energy blasts struck nearby ruins, sending debris into the air. The pyramid shook, dust falling from the ceiling. Mira watched the upload bar climb. 90%, 95. Then the console voice spoke again. Transmission complete. History restored. Mira smiled faintly. Then it's done. She turned back toward her ship as the ground split beneath them. The ancient vault's energy core surged, releasing a shockwave that spread across the planet. The Council fleets pulled back, their sensors overwhelmed. Halvin shouted, The seal's energy, it's reacting. Light rose from the ruins, reaching into the sky. For a moment, the whole world seemed to breathe. Mira looked up, eyes wide. It's awakening. The light spread faster, touching the ships, the stars beyond, and the empty void between them. The Council fleets retreated in panic, their transmissions filled with confusion. When the light faded, Mira stood in silence. The sky above was calm again, but something deep inside the planet had changed. She could feel it like a heartbeat in the air. She turned to her crew. We've started something that can't be stopped. Ilya nodded. The Council won't let this go. No, Mira said. But now everyone knows. The galaxy will start asking questions. She looked once more at the dead world of Clyros V. It didn't feel dead anymore. And far away on Earth, deep beneath the planet's crust, a faint pulse of light began to glow, slow, steady, and alive. The aurora drifted in the silence of deep space. The stars outside glowed faintly, but inside the ship, there was tension in every breath. Mira Lorne stood at the main window, her hands clasped behind her back. The memories of the vault on Clyros V still played in her mind, the images of humans bending reality, the voice of Elyon Sol, and his final words about the resonance. Halvin Rhee sat by the console, replaying the recorded hologram again and again. It's not just history, he said softly. It's proof. The galaxy erased us because they were afraid we could shape it. Ilya Torin paced near the navigation table, and now everyone knows. We sent that message to every world. They'll see us as a threat again. Mira turned to them. Maybe, but truth doesn't stay buried forever. The Council can't hide what they did anymore. The ship's communication light blinked red. Mira frowned and opened the channel. Counselor Varen's image appeared, his glass-like skin dim and cracked from stress. You have no idea what you've done, he said in a low voice. The galaxy is in chaos. Worlds are panicking. Some call you heroes. Others call you monsters. Mira met his gaze. We told the truth. The truth, Varen said sharply, is not always safe. The seal was never meant to be broken. If the energy of the resonance returns, it will not stop with Earth. It will spread and it will change everything. Halvin stepped forward. Then tell us what the resonance really is. Varen hesitated. We only know fragments. It is not a weapon. It is connection. When humans awakened it long ago, every thought, every emotion, every dream became real. You shaped reality with your minds. The Council feared it because it changed the laws of existence. It made your kind something more than mortal. The image flickered. There is something else, Varen continued. We found readings. The seal's collapse is triggering activity within your planet. Earth is awakening. Mira's heart sank. Awakening how? We don't know, Varen said. But the energy patterns match the ancient war records. You must go home before the Council fleet reaches you. They plan to contain it again by any means. The transmission ended abruptly. The ship fell into silence. Ilya looked at Mira. He said Earth is awakening. What does that even mean? Mira turned to the window, watching the stars. It means we need to find out before the Council destroys us. Setting course for Earth, Halvin said quietly. The journey took 6 days through folded space. As the aurora neared the solar system, the view on the screen made them all fall silent. The blue sphere of Earth shone in the distance, wrapped in faint ribbons of silver light. The barrier was gone, but something else had replaced it, a pulsing energy that moved like breath. Readings are unstable, Halvin said. The energy field surrounds the planet but doesn't block entry. It's almost alive. Bring us in, Mira ordered. They entered orbit over the Pacific Ocean. Below them, lightning storms moved in strange spirals, glowing with colors no human storm should have. The air shimmered like glass. It's beautiful, Ilya whispered. And terrifying. Mira looked down at her world. Prepare for descent. The ship broke through the atmosphere and landed in a quiet valley on the edge of the old ruins near the Andes. When the ramp opened, the air outside felt heavy and charged. Every sound echoed longer than it should. Even the ground seemed to hum faintly under their feet. Halvin set up scanning drones. Energy levels are off the scale. Whatever alien seal was meant to hold, it's starting to move again. Mira touched the ground. It felt warm, alive, almost like it was breathing. Maybe Earth remembers. They moved toward a nearby ridge where strange lights glowed from within the rock. The stone surface split open as they approached, revealing metal beneath. It wasn't alien metal. It was human design, but far beyond their technology. A doorway slid open with a low, deep sound. Inside was a chamber filled with crystalline pillars. Light pulsed through them in rhythmic waves. In the center stood a tall column of silver, covered with old symbols and a circular emblem, the mark of the first human ascendancy. Mira stepped closer. This must be another vault. When she touched the surface, the same voice from Clyrus V filled the air. Alien Soul. Record 2. The resonance cannot die. It sleeps within every mind. To silence it, we sealed the world. But if you are hearing this, the seal has failed, and the dreamers have begun to stir again. The light brightened, forming images around them. They saw entire cities of ancient Earth floating in the sky, powered by energy fields. Humans walked freely between stars, surrounded by light. Then came darkness. Worlds burning, stars collapsing. The Council begging humanity to stop. Halvin whispered, "We destroyed our own empire." Elian's voice continued, "We reached too far. The resonance bends reality to will. One thought can move mountains, but a single fear can tear the sky apart. The more humans awakened, the less stable the galaxy became, so I chose exile for us all." The hologram faded, leaving silence behind. Mira stood still, her mind racing. He sealed Earth to save the galaxy from us. And now, Ilya said, the galaxy fears we're becoming that again. Mira looked at her reflection in the silver column. Maybe they're right to be afraid. But fear doesn't erase what we are. A sudden tremor shook the ground. The crystal pillars around them glowed brighter. Halvin checked his scanner. The energy's surging from the planet's core. It's responding to us. Mira's voice was steady. Then it's time to listen. They returned to the aurora, but the ship's sensors began to flicker. Readings showed massive energy waves spreading across the continents. Earth's magnetic field pulsed like a heartbeat. Lightning storms formed patterns, perfect geometric shapes that spanned thousands of kilometers. Halvin stared at the data. It's like the planet is waking up. Outside, light rose from the oceans and deserts, forming thin pillars reaching into space. The glow spread, connecting them like a vast web. From orbit, it looked like Earth was covered in a lattice of silver fire. Ilya whispered, "That's not natural. That's control." Mira remembered Elian's words. The dreamers have begun to stir again. She felt a strange pull in her chest, a rhythm that matched the heartbeat of the planet. Suddenly, the comm system crackled. A familiar voice spoke, Varen again, but this time filled with fear. "Captain Lorne, listen to me. The Council fleet has arrived. They plan to neutralize Earth before the awakening completes. They think destruction is the only way." Mira's jaw tightened. "They're going to attack?" "They are already here," Varen said. "Dozens of ships. You must stop this or everything will end." The signal cut off. Mira turned to her crew. "Get us into orbit. If they're going to attack our planet, they'll have to go through us first." The Aurora rose into the sky. Above the atmosphere, massive Council warships hung like shadows, forming a blockade around Earth. Beams of energy charged along their hulls. "Captain," Ilya said, "they're preparing to fire." Mira stared at the screen. Her voice was calm. "Then let them see what they fear." The light from Earth suddenly flared, brighter than a sun. A wave of energy burst from the planet, washing over the Council fleet. It didn't destroy them, it stopped them. Their engines froze, their weapons went dark. The energy field wrapped around them like invisible hands, holding them in place. Halvin whispered, "The planet's defending itself." Mira closed her eyes and felt the hum in her mind grow stronger. For a moment she could hear it, the collective heartbeat of billions of humans resonating together. Ilya stared at her. "Mira, it's you." "It's responding to you." "No," she said quietly. "It's responding to all of us." The light dimmed and the ship slowly regained control. But none of them fired. Fear held them frozen. Mira opened a channel to the Council fleet. "If you fear what we once were, come and see what we are now. We don't need to destroy. We need to understand." There was no answer. The Council ships held position, uncertain. On Earth below, the glowing lattice slowly sank back into the planet. The energy faded, but the pulse remained. Steady, alive, waiting. Mira turned away from the window. "It's not over," she said softly. "This is only the beginning. The seal is gone, and now the truth can't be stopped." Halvin nodded slowly. "And if Elian was right, this awakening won't end with Earth." Mira looked out at the stars. "Then the galaxy is about to remember why they feared us." Far away, beyond the edge of the solar system, something stirred. A flicker of light in the dark, answering Earth's pulse with its own. The Aurora floated in high orbit above Earth, its hull still glowing faintly from the energy that had surged through the skies below. The planet looked peaceful again, covered in clouds and oceans, but everyone on the ship knew that something deep within it had changed. Mira Lorne stood at the main viewing deck, watching the blue world turn slowly beneath her. Every breath she took carried a strange weight. She could still feel the faint pulse in her chest, the heartbeat of the planet. It hadn't faded since the awakening began. Halvin readjusted the long-range sensors again and shook his head. "No more flares, no more energy waves." "It's quiet, too quiet." "Maybe it's resting," Ilya Torin said. She leaned against the console, her eyes fixed on the data streams. "Or maybe it's waiting." Mira didn't answer right away. Her mind replayed the last moment before the light had vanished, the feeling of connection, of being part of something vast and alive. She knew the resonance was not done with them. "Send a message to the Council fleet," she said at last. "Let them know we want to talk." Halvin looked uneasy. "After what just happened, they might see us as a threat again." "They already do," Mira said quietly. "But we can't hide from that anymore." He nodded and opened the channel. The holographic image of Counselor Varen appeared again. His expression was pale and uneasy, his voice filled with caution. "Captain Lorne, your world just paralyzed an entire fleet without firing a single shot. You must understand how this looks to the galaxy." Mira's tone was calm. "Then come and see it for yourself. See that it's not a weapon. It's something else, something alive." Varen hesitated. "If we approach and your planet reacts again, there could be panic. Whole systems could turn against you." "Maybe," Mira said, "but we're done being shadows in someone else's story." The counselor gave a slow nod. "Very well. A small delegation will come to you. No weapons, no fleets, if the planet allows it. When the transmission ended, Ilya exhaled. He's coming here? That's brave. Halvan smiled faintly. Or desperate. 3 days later, a small council shuttle entered Earth's orbit and landed near the Aurora. Mira and her crew waited at the valley site where the silver chamber had first awakened. The air was calm, and the faint hum of energy still lingered under the surface. The shuttle door opened and Counselor Varen stepped out, followed by 2 officers. His crystalline skin shimmered under the sunlight, cracks glowing softly as he approached. "So this is your world," he said. "It feels heavy, as if the air itself remembers." "It does," Mira said. "Earth remembers everything." They walked together toward the silver pillars that marked the entrance to the ancient chamber. Varen touched one of them carefully. "The resonance," he murmured. "I've read about it all my life. But to see it, to feel it, this is something else entirely." Mira studied him. "You knew the seal would fail eventually, didn't you?" Varen hesitated. "Not in my lifetime. The seal was meant to last forever, but nothing built on fear can last forever." He turned to her, his eyes serious. "What happens now, Captain? The Council cannot control what it does not understand, and your planet is beyond understanding." Before Mira could reply, the ground trembled. A wave of blue light passed through the valley, sweeping over them like wind. The air shimmered. The silver pillars brightened, and for a brief second they all heard faint whispers. Not voices exactly, but thoughts, memories, like echoes of the past. Varen stepped back in alarm. "What is that?" Halvan checked his scanner. "The planet is communicating again. But the signal isn't random. It's directed. Toward the Council fleet still in orbit." Mira's heart pounded. "It's showing them." High above, in orbit, the fleet's ships began to receive streams of data directly through their systems. Holograms filled the bridges, images of old Earth, the wars, the creation of the seal, the sacrifice of alien soul. Every crew member saw the truth that had been buried for generations. Varen's voice was barely a whisper. "It's revealing our lies." "Yes," Mira said softly. "Earth is telling its story." Moments later, the sky lit up with light. Not from weapons, but from ships. Dozens of smaller vessels from the Council fleet descended into the atmosphere, forming patterns across the horizon. They weren't attacking. They were watching, listening. Ilya smiled faintly. "Looks like they heard it too." Varen's eyes glowed with uncertainty. "You've started something no one can stop." "Maybe that's the point," Mira replied. That night, they set up a camp near the silver chamber. The stars were bright overhead, and for the first time in centuries, they shone freely on Earth without a barrier. Halvan sat by the fire, holding his datapad. "I've been running scans. The energy beneath the planet, it's stabilizing. Whatever's happening, it's controlled. It's not random. Controlled by what?" Ilya asked. "By consciousness," he said simply. "By human thought." Mira looked up from the fire. "You mean us?" "Not just us," Halvan said. "Every person on Earth, every human mind. The resonance connects them all. It's like we're part of the same song." Varen stared into the flames. "Do you realize what that means? If humans can link minds across planets, they could reshape civilizations. They could undo everything the Council built." Mira's tone was steady. "We don't want to destroy anything. We just want to exist without being hidden." Varen looked at her for a long time. "And if the galaxy won't allow that? Then it will learn," she said, "the same way we did." Before dawn, alarms sounded through the camp. Halvan ran from the ship, shouting, "Multiple energy signatures, deep space. Something's coming." They rushed to the ridge. Above the planet, the stars bent slightly like a ripple spreading through water. Then one by one, enormous dark shapes appeared. Not Council ships, something older, far larger. Varen went pale. "No, it can't be. Those are not ours." "What are they?" Mira demanded. "The Keepers," he said quietly. "They were the first guardians of the seal. Ancient machines left behind by Ilyan's order to ensure the world stayed silent. They haven't moved in thousands of years." Ilya's voice trembled. "And now they're waking up." The sky filled with light as the giant constructs descended toward Earth. Their bodies were covered in moving symbols, the same kind found in the ancient vaults. A voice echoed in every language at once. "Containment breach. Resonance reactivation detected. Re-establish isolation." Mira's pulse quickened. "They're going to reseal the planet." Halvin shouted, "We can't fight them, they're too strong." Mira looked toward the glowing Earth, then back at the others. Maybe we don't have to fight. Maybe Earth can protect itself again. She placed her hand on the ground, focusing on that strange pulse she had felt before. It answered, rising through the soil, through the air, through her. The light from the planet grew stronger, flowing upward like a tide. The keepers paused in the sky. The voice repeated its warning, but then something changed. Their lights flickered, symbols shifting. The energy from Earth spread across their massive forms, rewriting them. The voice became softer, calmer. New directive recognized. Humanity restored. The great machines slowly turned, facing outward into space. Then, one by one, they vanished into the dark, leaving trails of blue fire behind. Silence followed. The air felt light again, like the world itself was breathing freely for the first time. Varen stood frozen, speechless. "It obeyed you?" "No," Mira said quietly. "It remembered us." The light over Earth never faded after that day. It was not blinding, not dangerous, but it was strange, soft, golden, and alive. It pulsed like a heart, matching the rhythm of the planet itself. Ships from far systems came to watch, to listen, to try to understand what had happened. None of them dared to come too close. Inside the Aurora, Captain Mira Lorne stood at the viewing deck again, her eyes fixed on the glowing planet below. She felt calm but alert, as if something was waiting. She had not slept in 2 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard a voice calling to her from deep within the Earth. Halvin re-entered the deck quietly. "You're still up," Mira nodded. "It won't let me rest. The resonance keeps pulling me in." He looked at the readings on his screen. "It's not just you. Every scanner in the fleet shows the same signal. The planet's energy is spreading into space, slowly, like waves. And the strange part is, it's not random. It's organized. It's language." "Language?" Mira asked softly. "Yes, but not one we can translate. It's like a code of light and gravity. Maybe it's speaking to someone, or something." Mira stared at the bright world and whispered, "Maybe it's speaking to all of us." On the other side of the galaxy, panic began to grow. The Galactic Council's emergency chambers filled with representatives. Many were frightened, others furious. The seal had been broken, the keepers had vanished, and now the human world glowed with unknown power. Counselor Varen stood before them, his voice steady but weary. "We cannot attack them." The last fleet that approached Earth lost all control of its systems. No one was harmed, but their ships no longer obeyed them. The resonance simply turned them off. A voice from the chamber shouted, "Then Earth has conquered the stars without a weapon. We must stop them before the same happens to all of us." Another voice spoke, calmer but darker. Or perhaps it already has. "If the resonance is spreading, soon every mind in this galaxy will hear it." The council fell silent. Varen said, "Maybe that is not a curse. Maybe it is a chance. Humanity has returned after millennia of silence. They deserve to be heard." But not everyone agreed. Some left the chamber in anger. Some began preparing for war. And far beyond, hidden powers began to stir again. Old machines, forgotten programs, and signals from before the seal was made. Back on Earth, Mira walked through the ruins of the old silver chamber. It was quiet now, the air warm with strange energy. She placed her hand on the smooth surface of one of the pillars and closed her eyes. The world around her changed. The sky darkened and the air filled with light. She stood in a field of stars that stretched forever. Before her a figure appeared, tall, calm, and made of shimmering light. "Mira Lorne," the voice said. She didn't speak. She only watched. The figure smiled gently. "You carry my mark, my memory. You are the reason the seal fell." Mira's heart pounded. "Who are you?" "I am Elian Sol," the figure said. "The last guardian of Earth before the seal. The one who locked our world away." Mira stepped forward. "You sealed us from the galaxy? You erased our history. Why?" Alien's light flickered like a fading flame. "Because we became too strong. Humanity discovered resonance, the power to shape the universe itself through thought, emotion, and unity. But we were not ready. We believed we could guide the stars, fix creation. We were wrong. Every use of the power changed reality itself. Entire systems fell apart. Some worlds vanished from existence." He turned his gaze toward the stars around them. "I begged the council to help us. They were afraid, and so was I. So I sealed Earth away and erased our memory. It was mercy, an end to the madness." Mira's voice trembled. Then why now? Why did the seal break? Eliane looked at her kindly. Because the universe does not fear you anymore. It needs you. The balance has begun to fail again. The same energy that once awakened in humanity now weakens across the stars. Without resonance, life itself will fade. You were never a curse, Mira. You were the key to survival. Mira felt tears in her eyes. Then why does everyone fear us? Because fear is easier than faith, he said softly. But faith is what will save them. The light around him began to dim. I can no longer remain. My memory will fade completely now. The rest is yours. Wait, Mira called out. What do I do? Eliane smiled one last time. Remember who you are, and teach them. Then he was gone. The stars faded, and Mira stood alone once more in the silent chamber. When she returned to the Aurora, Halvin and Ilya were waiting with new reports. The signal from Earth has changed, Halvin said. It's no longer random. It's forming a pattern, an invitation. The other worlds can hear it now. Not just the Council. Every species across the galaxy. Mira took a deep breath. Then it begins. What begins? Ilya asked. Awakening, Mira said. Resonance isn't meant to belong to one species. It belongs to everyone. That's what Eliane was trying to teach us before the fear took over. Halvin frowned. If everyone awakens to that power, there could be chaos. Entire civilizations might collapse, or, Mira said quietly, they might finally learn peace. Across the stars, people began to dream. Miners on the moon of Teller saw images of blue oceans they had never known. Farmers on Rith felt the heartbeat of their soil. Soldiers on distant worlds lowered their weapons as they heard faint music in their minds. Music from Earth. It spread slowly, softly like dawn over darkness. But in the council chambers, not everyone welcomed it. Some called it invasion. Others called it enlightenment. Fleets gathered again, though none dared to fire. Counselor Varen sent one last message to Mira. You have changed the galaxy forever. Whatever happens next, you must lead it. Mira answered only one thing. We won't lead. We'll guide. The difference matters. Days later, Mira stood once more at the viewing deck. The aurora drifted over Earth's bright curve. She felt calm now, peaceful. Halvin joined her quietly. It's spreading faster than before. The resonance. Entire clusters are lighting up on the scanners. She smiled faintly. Then it's working. Do you think they'll ever forgive us? He asked. Maybe not, she said, but they'll understand one day. The hum of the ship blended with the steady pulse from below. It was no longer frightening. It was alive, gentle, like the breathing of the universe itself. In the distance, a faint news signal flickered. Ilya gasped. Captain, there's something out there. A message from another galaxy. It's weak, but we can read part of it. Mira turned toward her. What does it say? Ilya's voice was quiet. It says, we remember the resonance too. For a long moment, no one spoke. The stars stretched out before them, endless and waiting. Mira looked at the glowing planet one last time. Then we're not alone anymore. The ship's engines came to life, their soft hum joining the pulse of Earth. Slowly, the aurora rose higher, leaving the atmosphere, heading toward the stars where the next mystery waited. And behind them, Earth shone brighter than ever, its light reaching every corner of the galaxy, carrying one clear message that no one could silence anymore. Humanity had returned, and the universe would never forget.